How's it going, guys? I hope you guys having a great week. So I'm back today with a new video. So basically today, Edge, Dante and I got together, had a really long conversation in which we sort of discussed different kind of end of year topics, and these will be coming out in 3 separate videos. So this first video, we discuss what we think are some of the best games of this last generation. So Dante, Edge and I were able to pick 3 games only, and this is the discussion that we had. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let us know what would be your picks for game of the generation in the comment section below. Anyway, without further ado, enjoy.
Hello everyone, this is Edge from Edge Plays. Joining me this week is N7 Kate and N7 Dante from the N7 channel.
Hello guys.
Hey up.
I assume it's N7 channel. I mean, it's just N7 Kate channel, isn't it? Is it actual name?
Yeah. It's N7 Kate, yeah. But yeah. N7's about right anyway, so.
Earlier in the week, I had decided to do a couple of thought videos, and one of them was my top games of this generation. We're going into the PS5 and Xbox, whatever we want to call it. I kept mixing up the names.
Xbox Series X, Xbox Series XXY.
That's tricky.
It's just tricky. The way they name
They're going to call it the
shocking.
Xbox Z at some point, and I'd be like, okay, I'm buying that.
Z0.
Oh yeah.
X.
For those who are watching the video at the moment, I've just got Strand Taming in the background. You can see how I fail miserably at it. Obviously, if those who haven't seen before, N7K and N7 Dante have been doing YouTubing for quite a while. Please go and watch N7K's channel. She does really good work and does really, really good lore videos. Want to give us a bit of a quick blurb before we go any further?
Yeah, can do. So yeah, I've been a YouTuber for about 7 years now, 7 or 8 years. I do pretty much everything. So from my lore videos are probably the biggest in terms of viewership and helping people get prep for games and things. I do reviews, gaming news, occasionally do the odds let's play of games I'm really looking forward to. And then recently this year I've started branching out in terms of doing live streams and really, really enjoying it. Dante is a guest speaker on the channel. So he appears now and again. He's done a few reviews, which are really good. He did one on Shantae this year, which was awesome. I'm trying to rope him in to do more because his writing is really funny, particularly when we did our 2-minute reviews. And I know there's a lot of requests for him to do his Mass Effect Comedy Codex again with Mass Effect Legendary Edition coming out next year. So probably there'll be more on that. But yeah, please, let's push him.
Just got to squeeze it in through all the other videos and that.
Aye, that's true.
So much going off lately.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's me pretty much in a nutshell.
Ah, good. So the first thing we'll do then is, I did give you guys a challenge, which was the top 3 games of the generation, because I know that sometimes having a top 5 or top 10 can get quite hard.
I could have done a top 60.
Top
Played so many games. No, not that many. That's a bit of an exaggeration. But I've played so many games this generation on the channel, obviously. So to have been able to narrow this down to 3 is pretty impressive. So yeah. But yeah, I've played a lot of games.
Well,
some good, some not so good.
So what we'll do then is, N7K, if you want to do mine are in no particular order. There's the top 3 that I've generally probably give a bit of clarification as we do this. So my criteria will be different from the other 2. Mine is what has left the biggest impact on me in the last, say, several years. If I'm still playing it, if I would still go back and play it completely, and it's fun. So I'm sure that they think one of the games on here will be a definite, so I'm not going to say anything yet. But N7K, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can do. So my criteria for Game of the Generation, because I really did think about this in depth, because it's a pretty big title, Game of the Generation. So for me, a game that earns this kind of accolade is a game that really goes above and beyond. So it pushes the boundaries in terms of its genre, maybe acts as like the pinnacle of what that genre should be, or it takes the franchise or takes the genre in new and interesting directions, or this game has such an impact on me, it's such a memorable experience that having played it, that it just sticks with me even years later. So those are the kinds of games I've picked for it. So I'll go through my first one first then, and it's not going to be a surprise for anyone, including Edge, who I know will have been anticipating this, but probably my first game of the generation, and by generation I mean PlayStation 4, Xbox One. We're counting Nintendo Switch as part of that as well, even though Nintendo do their own thing. But the first game is definitely The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. That, for me, is the pinnacle of Western RPGs. And I'm saying Western RPGs because I know Edge is a massive JRPG nut. So there'll be many JRPGs, I'm sure, that are incredible that I just haven't played. But The Witcher 3 is, for me, the pinnacle of storytelling, character development, RPG mechanics, like a living open world. That game was so good in every respect, and I've been telling Edge to play and finish it for years. But it's so good, and the leap from 1 to 2 to 3 is like chalk and cheese. Like, they couldn't be more different. The leap that CD Projekt took to get to 3 was just like astronomical in terms of the improvements, in terms of the gameplay mechanics and the combat and things like that. But I fell in love with The Witcher, with the world of The Witcher. It wasn't a very well-known franchise prior to The Witcher 3. And I love the fact that because of the success of The Witcher 3, it's obviously massively branched out into the Netflix TV show. The books have done incredibly well, and the books are really interesting. And I fell in love with it. And it's one of the reasons I did my lore series, just to sort of prep people and get people ready for 3. And yeah, for me, it still is the best RPG of last generation. It's just the attention to detail, the love, the passion that went into that game. Like, you can feel it in everything that you play. And yeah, I just loved it. Loved every moment with it. I didn't want it to finish. Was very, very sad when the game ended. And just had a whole like heaps of fun. And it has massive replay value as well, just because of the choices and consequences and the different effects that you can have on the world. But yeah, I mean, The Witcher 3 for me is definitely one of the best games of last generation. I can't praise it enough, and I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't played it, Edge, you should play it and finish it without a doubt, most definitely. So yeah, that's my first one.
Agreed. I played it, and the 2 massive DLCs that came tacked on the end.
Oh, they're so good. Yeah. And I think it's just which breaks my heart about Cyberpunk, but we'll get to that later. But like, I think the way in which CD Projekt Red continued to support the game as well with free DLC packs, and then when the DLC packs came afterwards, which is obviously Blood and Wine and Heart of Stone, those themselves were a game self-contained in themselves. I think Blood and Wine had like 30 plus hours worth of gameplay, 60 hours. It was ridiculous, the size and scope of it. And it was priced at something ridiculous like $10.99. Yeah. It just blows my mind. So yeah, I think The Witcher 3 is definitely number 1. Okay.
No, I think I played The Witcher 2, and I think I got you into The Witcher by letting you borrow my copy of Witcher 2 on the Xbox 360.
Yeah, you did. You did do that. I thank you so much for that, because I would never have got to The Witcher 3
and
without
when I played The Witcher 2 on when I played it on like the Xbox 360, I really enjoyed it. But again, it's one of those games, like, I should really enjoy it, and I just have not for some reason got into it. So, but I agree with you. I agree with it. It's a very good game from what I've seen. I just haven't had the urge to fully play it properly yet, which is a bit weird. Did you think I would?
Yeah, because you're an RPG nut like me.
2 seemed a bit clunkier and not quite as polished as 3 when it came along. Although 3 went through several different versions, didn't it? Like, I've seen screenshots of the old inventory screens and all that. It did. So even that built upon it. Because I came to it late, I just got all the good stuff straight away.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I think it's definitely a very good game, but I need to properly play it before I can even say it's one of my top games. I know
Oh yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, only the games I've played and completed are on this list.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, so that's a good one. Dante, what's one of your top three games of the last generation?
Since we're
Oh,
choosing oh yeah. Well, because we all know that Nintendo are massively out of whack with the whole generational jumps and that they seem to bring their own stuff out. I don't know if they're a bit paranoid about going directly against other gens at the time, or they just play their own song. It's
yeah.
it's been several years now, but Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild came out quite a while ago now, and it's still just one of those games where when it's in a list, if there's a list happening, it's on there. It's one of those where like I'm a big Zelda fan. I've played like a lot, if not almost all of the past games.
Yeah.
And this one kind of broke the standard formula of it all. Decided to go into an insane open world, try and capture some of that magic from the original NES game, where it was like, here, an entire fantasy world. Have that. No direction. Figure it out yourselves. And it's like, whoa, what? And of course, with the technology these days, it's like a lot was put into it. But they also included a backstory to it. There was a lot like going off in it that was very subtle, and as a player you had to figure stuff out yourself. For those people just speeding through it, they won't have got the same kind of gratification at the end of it all that somebody who was like, oh, I'm going to explore the heck out of this place. I'm going to find like the flashbacks and memories of what happens in the story. I'm going to find like all the little secrets and odds and sods, and as well as cracking on with the main plot. It's just one of those beautiful games, and I've lost hundreds of hours into it easily. And it's still in my top, like, I think 3 or 4 longest played games on the Switch so far.
All right.
And yeah, everything down to the combat mechanics and the way you can approach things. There are so many. I think they spent so long figuring out some of the mechanics you can do.
Yeah.
Even as I speak now, I know there's still YouTube vids and that popping up going, whoa, you can do this in that game. And they just never figured it out like 5 years ago or whatever. I've got to get corrected now. How long has it been? 3 years? 2017?
I think it was 2017.
18, 19,
I think. Let me just look it up.
I think it will just be like 3 years ago. But yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a lot longer, but no, I don't think it's as long.
Well,
as you
I
think.
mean, you'll be impressed. I'm getting a copy of it very soon, so that'll be good.
Oh, that's awesome! Oh my god, I cannot wait to talk to you about that. Then
Because I know that
for me, it's got a very special place. Yeah, I was right. 3rd of March 2017. For me, it's the first Zelda game I finished. And that's quite special. Like, I've never actually finished a Zelda game. So the fact that I finished it, and I'm so excited, like, for the future of Breath of the Wild 2, them, like, potentially doing a sequel. Having played the new Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which I wanted to do a video with Dante on and just discuss it. But it's very exciting of where the franchise could potentially go. And again, it's just got really, really good characters and great music. The music is just
the music's
heavenly.
Absolutely amazing. Even though, like, in the original, some were like going, "Oh, there's no music," and it's like, "Yeah, there is. Play the damn game." But the voice actors were also pretty spot on. We wanted to see more of the characters, and that's why I think then the DLC Champions Ballad came out as well later on, because then it delved more into their backgrounds and made people more screen happy again. And then, of course, Age of Calamity, the whole Musou game, the Warriors kind of prequel, if you will, that was just an absolute love letter to everybody who enjoyed those characters. It's like, oh, we're just gonna give all the fan service. Here we go. Even though it's a completely different style of game, they blended it in so nicely with some of the mechanics of Breath of the Wild that you were like, whoa, this is like I am playing in that universe, but it's not at the same time. It was very clever, and enjoyed it a lot. And very much looking forward to Breath of the Wild 2 as well.
Yeah, do you know what? I give it credit as due. It does look a very fascinating game. Like, I played a lot of the Zelda games previously, and the fact that this one is almost unheard of, because you've got, obviously, the sequel, which is coming out eventually soon, and then you've also got this spin-off sort of prequel game. It's like the Warrior-style game with RPG elements. Just insane. It's great. I love the fact that they're building up more lore, because you normally play a different Zelda and Link each time.
Yeah, so it's nice. Sequels.
It's nice that they're trying to. Yeah, no. Do you know what? I think this is like them reinventing it a little bit. When I'm hoping it does well, because the last couple of Zelda games, like though they've been very, very good, I've just had no urge to play them. Like Twilight Princess, I really enjoyed on the Wii, but it was very. I didn't complete it. I just lost the urge to finish it, and I don't know why. Then same with Skyward Sword. Again, very good-looking game, but I just kind of didn't feel the urge to play it. Maybe because it's the same sort of.
Might be down to the motion controls as well.
I was just thinking that the fiddly motion controls. Just now, it's such a gimmick. I can't play it myself because of my neck. Dante has to take over, don't you?
Another thing that really makes Breath of the Wild prove it is standing out is how many clone kind of games started popping up afterwards, or at least stealing heavily from the mechanics and situation.
Same with The Witcher 3. If a game is good, other developers will take bits of it that are good and copy it. You see that with the new Assassin's Creed, with Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like, they took elements of The Witcher 3, just like a lot of games are taking, like, and you see a lot of copycats now, like the new Phoenix Rising, you know, the one that was called Gods and Monsters, but they couldn't do that because that was copyrighted. That is, it's just it's like, its art style is like Breath of the Wild. It's that kind of same open world.
Genshin
Impact.
Yeah, that's another heavily.
One.
Yeah.
Okay. So should we move on to Edges? Because
no, those are very, very good choices. Right, so my first game of the last generation, before obviously PS5 and the new Xbox Series X, Z, ABC, you know.
Delta, Alpha, Beta, Beta.
And I think that you'd be surprised by my first choice, maybe, is Monster Hunter World.
Not surprised. It was going to be on my list, except I knew that you would talk about it.
So you know what?
So I didn't put it on there. Yeah,
it's one of those games that I've generally enjoyed a lot, and
me too.
It's one of those ones that I just For context, for those who've never played a Monster Hunter game, you hunt monsters pretty much. You carve up their body parts. There's no storyline. It's not like you're fighting a great evil. You're just hunting monsters and killing them.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
But it's really
addictive. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, for something that has such an obvious game loop, it's surprisingly keep-on-y. But it also crossed over into my lists of longest played and fun for multiplayer.
Yeah,
because that's definitely a team kind of styly game. It's not as fun just on your own.
I do love multiplayer games because it's fun to hang out with people and have a bit of a fun experience. And one of the ones that I really enjoyed about it was the fact that you're not only learning all their combat, you're learning all the techniques of the monsters, their attack patterns, you're crafting weapons from them, but you get better. Like, you feel like a sense of accomplishment and reward, because like there was like a point in the game where we were fighting Nergigante, a very powerful monster in the story, and we all kind of had that sort of, oh god, so hard, and then we're like, yeah, it's easy now. Just go ahead and kill it. And you just get that level creep. You have that moment of, oh god, we can't do this, and then suddenly, how do we find that hard to begin with? And
for me, it was as soon as they introduced the ability to slam them into walls.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I know my role.
That was a massive DLC as well, though, with Iceborne, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Iceborne was amazing.
Yeah,
For me, Monster Hunter World is the epitome of games as a service done right.
Yeah, done in the best way.
Yeah, because you've got loads of regular updates for free. Valve's the Iceborne being an expansion, which was fair enough.
Events.
It was
Plenty
so
of
huge.
monsters.
That's an old game in itself, isn't it, though?
Oh yeah,
So you
it's
definitely
one of
pay for
those. It's one of those games that I've kept going back to, and I've checked how many hours I've put into it, and I've easily done over 400 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think of the laughs, I mean, my channel started with just doing these little random video clips of us hunting random monsters, but you can see how much fun we're having. And for me, that's one of the big things that I come back to. If the game is fun, if it's got plenty of support and content, Capcom obviously a few years back were doing really bad, and they had this kind of resurgence of decent content or decent games now. So I'm really happy to shout, good on you for doing such an amazing game with this Monster Hunter. And I mean, I played them before, like I played Monster Hunter Tri, I'd have gone some of the PS2 ones. This got a lot of things right, and also introduced a lot of new fans to the series by doing a lot of quality of life fixes.
Yeah, massively.
Because
even I struggled with the previous one.
For your benefit, N7K, you know how you can just get pickaxe loads of ore around you, or catch bug nets, or harvest honey. Okay, Imagine having an item for every one of those, and it breaks, and that takes up inventory slots.
Absolutely not.
And you got to hope that your axe doesn't break every time.
Rise is going to be good. I really do. I hope they'll take some things from World that were great and carry them on, but maybe expand on them or something. I do hope so. I'm excited for that game.
I think they'll make a Monster Hunter World 2. I think Rise is the game that's going to keep us all preoccupied until World 2 comes out.
The in-between game. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to jumping into Rise with you, and it'll be interesting to see how it works on the Switch, because the Switch for me as a platform for online gaming isn't the best. Yeah, so that's my only concern with Rise.
Was it Switch only, or was it Switch and PS4?
It's Switch only.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to play it, definitely.
Oh,
it looks great.
Yeah. We'll be making use of Discord, I guess, because
Switch
still doesn't have a chat ability, which is ridiculous. So yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, Monster Hunter World would have been on mine just because it's a game, and again, that game of generation is you're right. It should be a game that you really enjoy playing, and that you have put so much time into. And if you are doing that with the game, there's a reason for that, you know? So yeah, I totally get why it's on your list. I mean, it would have been on mine, but I knew that you were going to talk about it. So I was like, I'm going to let Edge have that and just talk about it, because I knew that you want to talk about it for quite a while. But no, it rightly deserves its place on that list. It's a fab game, and if you haven't played it, it's definitely, I think it's a really fun. And as well with 2020 and the whole social distancing and isolating, it's a great game to play with your friends.
Definitely.
You know, so I think more than any other year, it's probably a really good game just for the year that we're having. I want to jump back in now and play it. It's really good.
And there's still the monsters we haven't done yet, and there's still little armors we've not collected. We've done so much in the game.
Content.
Yeah.
And I could spend another 400 hours on it, no problem. And that to me is a good game. If I still want to keep playing after so long, that's one of my top 3 games. Okay, so I think we've done our first picks of what our top 3s are. What's your next one, N7K?
I can move on to the next one. So my second game then to pick for this is Ghost of Tsushima, which came out this year. Yeah, it's exclusive on the PlayStation 4, just came out in 2020, and I platinumed it. I actually platinumed it, and it's an incredible game, and there's many reasons why it's on my list. One of the biggest issues I always have with open world games, and it seems like every developer at the moment is trying to recreate The Witcher 3 and everything's got to be open world, everything's got to be massive, and you get developers that do it really badly. Ubisoft, right, who just flucker the map, and it's all very repetitive, it's all, it's very dull, it's just, it gets too much. Ghost of Tsushima introduced the idea of exploration and the way in which it works in such an interesting way. I didn't realize I was doing all of this open world exploration because of the way it was implemented, if that makes sense. So on Ghost of Tsushima, you have this kind of wind that you can use as your direction. So rather than having your UI full of like icons and things going, oh, go over here to get this, go over here to get this, and like, you know, that kind of thing, you have hints in the world that show you where there are things maybe to go and explore. Yeah, or to go over here and have a look at. So say, for example, if there is smoke in the distance, then that might indicate that there's an enemy camp or that there's a side mission or something over there for you to explore. The world itself feels really alive. So you've got like the trees and the cherry blossoms and things. You've got animals in the world like birds and foxes and things that you follow, and will lead you to things. So it takes open world exploration and shows it in a way that's incredibly cinematic, utterly gorgeous, completely immersive, and just refreshing.
Yeah.
And because I've played so many open worlds, and I've played a lot of open worlds, I got to the point where I started to feel open world-itis, as in I'm fed up of it.
Yeah.
You know, and I just got tired of it. And Watch Dogs Legion, I will talk about it later, but it is on it's one of the biggest issues I had with that game. But Ghost of Tsushima it's just gorgeous, and the way in which it's implemented is just incredible. I couldn't stop exploring because it was just such a gorgeous island. It was so different. It was just so interesting, and then couple that with some of the best combat I've seen in a game for years. Yeah, the combat in Ghost of Tsushima is just fab. It's so accessible. It's so much fun to play. The musical score is incredible. This is the Assassin's game set in Japan that I always wanted.
Yeah.
But for me, obviously, you guys know I love Japan. It's one of the countries I spent 4 years living there. I'm very, very attached to it, its history and everything. So I knew I was going to enjoy this game. I knew I was going to love it going in, obviously. But I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, and I couldn't stop playing it. Like I got hooked into it, and before I knew it, I'd platinumed the game, and didn't even realize I'd done it. You know what I mean? So it's just so. If you haven't played it, I mean, I can't recommend it enough. Sucker Punch, to be a studio that went from doing a first-person shooter in like Killzone, to doing something like this was so different. And I think a lot of Sony studios have done that this year, like, you know, with like the team that did Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
No, Sucker Punch did Infamous, didn't they?
Yeah.
Sucker Punch did Infamous Second Son. And it's just so interesting for them to go in a completely different genre and a completely different direction. And you could tell the excitement of that, and doing something new that oozes through the game. Then couple that with the fact that they've supported the game post-launch, and now they've introduced a free to play, no additional fee multiplayer mode, which is really good, and they're only adding to it as they go along. It's just fab. It's a fab game. But for me, it took that open world exploration in a new and interesting direction. And it's that earned it one of the game of the generations for me. So, yeah.
It is one I do want to play, because it was I've not played it because I had so many other games on the go, but it is one I'm going to be playing this year, coming for definite.
Yeah. It is very good, and we want to get you on it so we can do some more co-op.
I can't wait. Yeah, just to get doing
so
the
I can
raids
start
and
randomly
stuff.
killing people. Did you kill some?
Yeah.
No.
Well, you could play as the samurai. I always play as like the archer. You know, I'm all about the headshots in every game I play. It doesn't matter what game. If it involves sniping from a distance, I'm there. That's what I'm doing in Cyberpunk at the moment. But yeah, it's such a gorgeous game, and it's got actually a really good story as well. It's just a great game. It's so good, and the score is just incredible. Yeah. You again, Edge, another game that you have to play without a doubt.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that I just find that this year, like, there were so many big games that were coming out that I just didn't play.
You didn't have the time.
And it's not because I didn't want to, it's just because, well, that, part of it was the reason, because, like, Avengers, we'll go with that a bit later on for definite.
Yeah.
But, a very good choice again. I'm looking forward to giving it a go. Seriously.
Yeah, even year before, they've been cramming a lot of games in lately, these last couple of years.
Yeah, and the fact that it was the last game of the PlayStation 4 as well was a hell of a send-off for the PS4.
Oh, yeah.
You know, really good. Great way to finish the generation.
Well, I mean, hopefully at the very least compared to the other ones, but cool. I like that. I think there's some good choices there, definitely. I was expecting The Witcher for definite.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima again was a. I'm intrigued by your third one though, so I'm not too sure what it was going to be. But we'll see. Okay, so Dante, what's your second one?
Let's talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh my god, yes.
Is that one of your top three?
Oh yes.
God, so yes.
It's mad. There's obviously that kind of nostalginess, well, at least for myself, for the past game. What has it been, 20 years or something stupid like that?
So
more
ridiculous
than that. About 23, 24.
Yeah. From the original game, which at the time was... It broke a lot of boundaries. It was like off cartridges in small time. It was all like, right, onto 3 CDs or something like that. Let's get this big.
I remember that. Yeah.
And so that the FF7 series got a lot of prequels, sequels, the odd movie and OVAs and all sorts of this and that, just constantly adding to the lore. It seems to have happened again now with the remake, where you'd expect, they're just going to massively flesh out and redo the original FF7 game. And that's what most of us expected. Of course, they've kind of remade the lore as well. It's pretty much a sequel from those games, but also standalone at the same time. It's beautiful. It's like, whether you like the characters before or it's the first time you've met them, you're just like, the writing on this is just funny. I kept creasing up and grinning through most of this game. It was just daft. The graphics as well are just... I know they've snuck in their cut corners here and there, but for the console it's on, like with the PS4...
it looks great.
It's way more than you'd expect. It's like, whoa, is this really playing on this console right now? It's like, this looks too pretty. And it didn't suffer too much from like loading screens or anything like that as badly as I thought it would do. And then mechanic-wise, it's a bizarre blend of the old school RPG turn-based battles, but you've also got real-time scrapping in between as well to build up the bars to do that. It's so strange. Yeah, it's a mad blend of like two different styles, but it works so well.
It's taken what they did in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
And I had issues with that game. I had many issues with that game. But it's taken some of the combat in that, and fused it into 7. For me, is the epitome of what it should be. Yeah. And where it should go. And the combat was just... I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed. I knew I was going to enjoy the characters and the story, because I've heard great things, and I've never finished it. So I was expecting that, but I wasn't expecting how much I actually enjoyed, like the combat and the customization, of the materia and stuff. And I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. It was so good. I can't wait for the next one. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. I genuinely did love it. I mean, I played to death FF7 when it first came out on the PlayStation, and obviously I can't say too much because it's very interesting because N7K hasn't played the original.
I already know one of the endings. I know what happens to a particular character because it got spoiled for me, and that's fine. And I'm happy if they change that, so that's okay for me. So yeah, because I'm like, no, like, I love her. No, don't do it. I can't play it. I can't play it through if that's going to happen. But now knowing that might not happen, that's fine.
I think FF7 Remake does a good job of introducing new fans to the series, while also it's interesting because from what I read or what I've heard, they were just when they did it, they had it as a complete story, so that at the very least, if they didn't do a part 2, it could be left as it was. But I mean, obviously, they're going to do a part 2, so that's fine.
So many questions on the end, though. It's like, nah, part there's got to be more than that.
I mean, 3-part, I think at least.
Because me and Dante have played the first one, we could theorize so much about what's happened with the ending of the first bit, which I think we could do a video about next year potentially.
Yeah.
But it's hard because N7K hasn't played the original, and anything we do talk about would be spoilers.
Dante's wanting me to play it. He is wanting me to play the original, but I'm kind of like, one of my reasons I really enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Remake is it's because I hadn't played the original, and I liked having that fresh perspective on it, and I felt that made my review of it quite interesting because I didn't have that nostalgia that you have and Dante have, and I'm not comparing it to anything, so I'm taking it purely on face value, and that is quite refreshing.
I will say they did a very good job with the feels.
So I think I'm probably gonna play the remake, and then once I've played it all the way through, I'll go back and play the original and see how it differs.
But the only argument I have for it for the other way round is that the story and plot of this is blatantly pulling from the original game.
Speculating. We don't know where they're going to go with it.
Oh, it is blatant. It's blatant, though.
Really? Okay.
There are various parts of it where it's like going, right, this is... if you'd played the first game, you know what this is alluding to, but that's now changed.
All right.
And it's a lot of... Because, you start messing around with anything even remotely time traveling.
I see what you're saying. Because I had played Breath of the Wild before playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, it did make me appreciate that game on a wholly different level. Yeah, because I had played. So I get what you are saying. I can see where you're coming from in that. Because when we were playing Hyrule Age of Calamity, we were like, oh my god, so I can understand where you're coming from. So maybe I will go back. I've got a week off in January. We'll see. Plus, maybe if I have time.
If you played Age of Calamity, which was originally thought of to be a prequel, but actually it's not because timey-wimey time travel, you just get massive spoilers for Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
And then that would ruin Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild was all about finding out all that, like the original FF7 was. It was like going through all that for the first time, and then
don't play Age of Calamity before you play Breath of the Wild. Edge, do not do it.
It will just ruin.
It will ruin it for you. Yeah, agreed. 100% agreed.
So even though you could still happily enjoy FF7 Remake on its own, there are so many bits and tips where it's like going, oh my god. And that's why I started getting angry at certain bits, because I went, wait a minute, this is giving spoilers for what's going to happen. And it's not until...
wondering about... You did get very angry at certain bits. I just didn't get what... Because I hadn't played the original, so I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like little things.
Flashing up random things.
And that is why we think it's going to take a different direction, and certain things to characters might not happen, or certain events might not happen anymore, because it's not that they're spoiling them. It's like they're going, oh, this is a glimpse of what happened in the previous timeline. Now they're on to something completely new, which is why I think you should play the original, because I don't think they're going to go over the same ground.
Okay, so we're getting let's move on to Edges next one, because we are getting very off the tangent. But that's fine. That could be like a whole other video just talking about FF Remake. So
So two good choices. So to recap, we've had The Witcher 3, and we've had
Breath of the Wild,
and
Monster Hunter.
Ghost of
Tsushima. So 4 very good games there from the next generation. Now then, for my next one, I'm going to say Persona 5.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
It's on my list of... I
I haven't finished it, but I know it's good.
I bet it would be, but I haven't even started it.
I mean, the problem
buying it
is,
ages ago.
I do have a long list of honourable mentions, and so to give a reason as to why I've picked Persona 5 over the slew of other games I've played is, it was my first Persona game. I have played Atlus's works before, and some of them I'm used to some of the mechanics, like the school life and the RPG dungeon crawling, but it was so stylized, it was so interesting, and the more you delved into this world and the characters and what made them tick, you kind of got sucked into the world of it, and all the characters had like their own motivations, and like a lot of the comrades you could form relationships with who would help you out, like the gunsmith or the person who teaches you tactics or for special moves, unlocked new features for you in the game, but it also allowed you to sort of kind of build up a repertoire or rapport with them all. And it meant that you could play the game however you wanted. Like, would you try and do everyone at once? Would you try and focus on certain people? I did a full run and I just missed out on maxing everybody out. And it's got a new game plus, so I'm doing that at the moment in my spare time. But it's such a fun game. Music is brilliant. The dungeons are all really well themed, and it's got a wonderful exploration type of like almost like a bit like a mini Zelda-ish style sort of dungeon exploration, because you're running around solving little mini puzzles, and each one adds a new mechanic each time, which is just really good fun. And I can't say too much because obviously I know in 7 hasn't played it. Oh, you're playing with the first dungeon or two so far.
I've played I've played 2 dungeons. I've done 2 dungeons. So I don't want to say anything because Dante's not played it, but I've done 2 dungeons and met a couple of new characters. But I'm with you. Like, it's a great game. Oh, the music as well is so good. It's so freaking catchy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised by, like, there's a lot of not micromanaging, but like, when you're in school and you're taking lessons and you can choose how to spend your time, in the downtime, and it's about like managing your time as well, and like what you want to. So how it sounds very much like Fire Emblem, like Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
The old
it has some elements of that. It's not a dating sim, but it's so well written. It's so well written, and I tried it both in the Japanese and in the English, and I'm playing it in the Japanese because I'm just enjoying it more. But it's still both are good. But I it is a game on my list of games to complete on my freaking giant backlog, which is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we go. And but I think it well deserves a place on your list. It's a great game.
Now, to clarify, I can't put the Royal on it because I didn't play the Royal, and I know that's like a re-release of the game with a new character and extra content, but it's going from the original game.
I have issues with them re-releasing and charging a full price for an edition.
Been done
I think
before,
Royal should have.
Unfortunately.
If you purchase, I know it has, and they did it with things like Catherine and stuff like that as well. Yeah, where they re-released it. I have issues with that as a gameplay mechanic, because if you or as a marketing whatever, because I bought Persona 5, right, but I can't buy Royal as like an additional DLC pack to upgrade what I've currently got. I have to I have to purchase the game entirely again. I have issues with that.
No, of course.
Yeah, because I feel like it's so not to down the game, because the game is very good, but the way in which they did that, I didn't get Royal because I didn't want to support that kind of marketing or that kind of decision. But if it was cheap, I might do. If it went down to $24.99 or £20, then I would be tempted to pick it up because it improves a lot of the game mechanics as well.
Yeah,
but I'd have to start all again, and I don't think I can bring myself to start again.
No, I'm the same. I'm like, I just spent so many hours just getting myself started up and unlocking all the cool Persona.
Exactly.
I probably will do as a laugh at some point if it's cheap enough. Do like a playthrough of it, maybe, but we'll see.
It's a great game.
Be a long playthrough.
Oh, it'll be a very long playthrough.
That's the problem, isn't it?
But it's a game I've completed, and it's one of the ones that it's one of my top 10 games for the PS4 because it was just such a fun game that's left a lasting impression. And obviously, you can tell with like Smash Brothers to put Joker in that. They've got Persona 5 Smash, not Smash, what do we call it? Coming
Hyrule
out.
Warriors. No.
Hyrule Warriors coming out in February next year, March next year, which I'm looking forward to because it's a sequel to Persona
What?
5.
All right.
So it's story-wise, it's a sequel to Persona 5.
Okay.
It takes place 6 months later.
Okay.
And if you've not seen any gameplay video of it, I would recommend because it looks a lot of fun. And I don't know if it is multiplayer. I think it might be two-player.
What's it called?
Persona 5 Scramble.
Scramble.
It's
Okay, cool.
it was announced earlier this year, I think near the beginning, and it was meant to have come out a while ago. But we're getting it now finally in the next couple of months, and it's on Switch and PS4.
Ooh, okay.
But one to play after completing the original game.
Completing the original because it's a sequel. Right, better get on with that then.
But you don't need to play the Royal because I don't think it takes Royal into account. It only takes.
That's fine. Thank God for that. Okay, fine.
It only takes Persona 5 original into account unless they add any DLC to it later on. But it looks really good, and it looks really.
You can't take your save file from Persona 5 and just transfer it into Persona 5 Royal. You know what I mean?
Super powerful already.
Just such a shame because obviously they've got the additional semester, haven't they, and stuff.
Yeah.
And the additional characters and obviously the tweaks and things like that. But yeah, hey ho, that's fine.
I know, right? It's one of those fun ones where it's like, I mean, they have got the new Shin Megami Tensei game coming out next year as well. So I might have a look at that one. It's very similar in terms of the summons you get and monsters you get from Persona, because the Persona's like a spin-off of that. So we'll see. But that's in my top. That's in my top 3 because I'd go back and play it again quite comfortably.
Yeah.
All right then. So your third choice, Kate. What is that?
Okay, so this is going to be an
intrigued.
interesting one. It's one that you wouldn't have seen coming. So my third choice, and again, like I say, the Game of the Year games for me are games that have a lasting impression on me and do something new. So my third game of the generation is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice on the PlayStation 4.
Do you know what? I wouldn't have thought it straight away.
By Ninja Theory. I've talked about it before, so you know, obviously I'm massively. Now, I think this past generation more than any, has been a generation when indie studios have really shown what they can do. Yeah. I mean, look at things like Hades, that came out this year and how well that was received. I still need to play it, but I hear it's a fab game. There's been a lot of very good games, and Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice for me was a game I was interested in, but I wasn't expecting for it to have the impact that it did and the vision that game had, because obviously the game deals with mental health. Yeah, it deals with psychosis, hearing voices, visions, schizophrenia, paranoia. It's really interesting. Now, it's set in like Norse mythology. Yeah, so you play Senua, and the basic premise of it is her lover dies and you're trying to return his soul back to the afterlife kind of thing. But Senua, like you do. But Senua is like constantly as you play through it, you see her mind start to unravel, and it's so like cinematic and visually striking. But what really got me was the direction, and the game direction and the audio, like the way in which they use sound. And I played it on headphones, and as you're playing through it, you have these voices that constantly come in, but they used this is like 3D audio used really well. So the voice comes in really close and then pulls out, and it uses sounds very, very well. And as I was playing through it, I started, the line between Senua and me blurred.
Yeah.
To the fact that I felt like I was that involved in the game that I started to almost channel like that character, and I started to actually act out with these voices. So there were like parts in the game where I was like, shut up, stop talking, shut up, no, I'm going this way, and I started to properly actually feel like just that emotional kind of just exhaustion. I make the same game sound horrendous. I make it sound like the most traumatic thing in the world.
It's definitely a trip.
But it is, yeah, and you have to be in the right frame of mind to want to play it for sure. But it's such an impactful game, and I think it made me look at things like that, like mental health and schizophrenia, and it made me look at it from a completely different perspective and appreciate that. And it just took me to places I wasn't expecting. And like I've always said, games are an art form, yeah, and they can transport you to places and to moments that we wouldn't usually experience. And it's one of the things I really love about games. They're like no other medium. In fact, that you become that character, you're playing that moment. It's like when I played Mass Effect and I'm freaking shouting at my shepherd, and I'm shouting at Rex, as you in Mass Effect 3, where he's like, "There's a Reaper in my way, Rex," and I'm like, I'm in that moment. I am shepherd, and it's where games do that for me, where that's where they really do something special. And Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice for me. And I'm really happy that it got the recognition it deserved that year, because it really did do well. But it was incredible. And it was just great to see an indie studio push the envelope and try something new. Because one of the issues I have with a lot of big AAA games, right, is they play it too safe.
Yeah.
And they become very samey, and they're all using the same kind of... That's why I fucking hate games as a service and stuff like that, because they all use the same game tropes, the same gameplay things, and you get bored of it. So it's really nice to see a studio like that do something really out there and really, and yeah, oh my God, yeah, it was so good. I don't want to go back and play it because it was really traumatic. I don't think I can play it a second time. But the experience of it, the first time I played it, if you haven't played it, and you're interested in games like that, it's very, very good. And you absolutely have to play it with headphones on, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because that is the way to experience that game. But yeah, that's why it's on my list, because again, it did something new, something different, and it did storytelling in a new and interesting way. And again, it had that impact on me that I wasn't expecting. And even weeks after, I couldn't stop thinking about it and reflecting on it. And when a game does that, it's good. So yeah, so that's why it's on my list. That's my third one.
Yeah, not bad. Okay then. No, I mean, I've not played it, and it was one of those ones that you say... All
three that I picked you haven't played. Which is interesting, so you have to get on them. I highly recommend them if you have the time.
The Witcher 3 I did play briefly at the beginning bits, and I just... Again, it's one of those ones...
The opening section, The orchard one, where you...
I got past the orchard.
The tutorial. Oh, did you? Okay. Did you get to the Bloody Baron yet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was alright. I was just like, okay, let's just kill you.
Give it time. You killed the Bloody Baron just like that?
I thought, fuck it.
Wow. Okay, then. You probably missed out on a lot of really interesting stuff then, maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
oh, dear me.
To be honest, someone goes to me, help me, Witcher, kill something. Okay, fine, let's just do it. Do you really want... What?
It's my job.
My job to kill stuff. Pretty much, kill. Yeah, that was it, really. I mean, I don't know how else to say, really, at this point.
It's fine. We'll move on to the next game. Which is fine. So whose turn is it next? Is it Dante's or Dante's turn?
Third choice.
Okay. What's your number 3?
So because mine crossed over with a lot of your guys, such as Ghost and Once in the World of that, I've gone for Marvel's Spiderman.
Oh yeah.
Now, of course, I've played the PS4 version. This has got nothing to do with any later version or anything like that. Yeah. But that was basically because before that, that kind of DC or Marvel super action hero video game, the Batman Arkham series was just top notch. I thought the way the combat flowed, the way you're cramming all the villains and that from various storylines and get a good plot going. This just felt like, it's Spider-Man's version of Arkham now. It's it's got that kind of the great like combat mechanics, but the fact that they've got the web swinging down to a T in this version.
So good. It felt incredible.
Past Spidey games have had it mostly alright, it's all good, but this just was like, what? And then with upgrades and this and that, you're getting better and better, and it's it was just brilliant. It's one of the few games I've got on PS4 where I've actually bothered to platinum as well, because it was just like, oh yeah, I'll keep at it. It was another one of just so many as well where I've gone, right, I've started it, I'm just playing this now constantly until I finish it, no breaks, because I'm fine in this world. There's nothing like boring about it. Yeah, there's some repetitive portions here and there, but you still enjoy doing it and getting on with certain parts of it. I'm not. It's like
it's a very good game.
Yeah,
it's a very good game.
I can't think of anything else to really go deep into about explaining it. Really, it's like
I agree. I think it's been a very. It's
pretty
very
well known.
Oh yeah, no, it's a good Spider-Man game, and you know what? I think it deserves a lot of the praise it's getting, because like the ones I played back in the day were on the PlayStation and PS2, and they were fun. But this is kind of like what the hardware can do, which is quite nice. It makes you feel more like you're playing a Spider-Man. A Spider-Man now, so I'll give you that.
It's the way the physics work in that as well. The way the physics work in the game, from the way that it feels when you're web swinging, and the weightlessness of the moment when you like swing up, and then you're that nose diving into, and the speed and the way in which they do it all, it feels great. And I think it captures that. Not to sound corny, but you really feel like Spider-Man, but it really captures that feeling, and it's exhilarating, especially because Spider-Man's one of my favorite like Marvel characters. I love Spider-Man. I've always loved Spider-Man, and it has some of the best villains as well. But like, it's so good, and I can't recommend. And then the DLC was really great.
Yeah, I 100% of those as well, even though there was like some tricky challenges and annoyances. It's like, but damn, it's like, no, I'm playing all of this. I want as much as going before. Lots of little Easter eggs and references to certain things as well. And as you were saying, it's got that Arkham effect.
Bring
it's
back
like
Black Cat. I love Black Cat.
you were the goddamn Batman in Arkham. You are definitely the Spider-Man in this game.
But what makes it so depressing is the fact that you could then make a really good Superman game, or you could make a really good...
And they
just
Flash,
don't.
Maybe.
Or the Flash, and they just don't. What?
Yeah.
You can be done. You've got Batman and Spider-Man. Both of them have powers, and like, how can you not do this? How can you not be able to make...
I want a Wonder Woman game.
I mean, it's been done. I mean, you had Aquaman game, and that was terrible.
I would love a Wonder Woman game. I really would. It'd be so cool.
But other little things I liked about, like, say, the Marvel Spider-Man was more attention to detail and that, and such as, like, even the voice actors recording the same lines differently, whether he's web swinging or not, to get that, so, like, you could listen to just him talking through plot while you're swinging through the city, or just when he's sat down, and it sounds natural, and it's like, oh, this is how they haven't figured out. It's like, Peter, why do you sound so strained? Nothing to swing in front of city. But there were lots of clever little bits. Oh yeah, humor, and anything that makes me crack a smile as well is always good.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very good third choice. I think you know what, I'm not too surprised, because when you look at the amount of work and effort in these games, it's just very well done. And I think it kind of shows you a little bit as well, like as the consoles get into like their height before they go on to next gen, you can see how much work and effort. Because I mean, Witcher 3 came out in like near the middle beginning of the PS4, which was quite nice, and it was a very good visually looking game. And then when you look at Spider-Man, you look at Tsushima, we've mentioned, like and Spider-Man, like just the sheer amount of like effort and quality looking there is just amazing. And I can only imagine what the PS5 will show off in the end of its lifespan, hopefully. Same for the Xbox Series X and the PC gaming in the next 10 years. I mean, especially when you looked at the demo for Unreal 5, was it? Like, holy crap, that's going to be amazing. Hopefully, what they do with it.
Tech demo though, so we'll wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see, definitely.
Yeah.
Right then, so I reckon that my third choice is going to not be a surprise for many people.
Oh God, I already know what you're going to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could troll you right now and give you my third choice. My third choice is Barbie.
Anthem.
No, it's not Barbie. No,
Cooking
it's
Mama.
Cooking Mama 3. Yeah, no, it's not in there then. So this disclaimer on this game, it's the reason why I've picked this one is it did the impossible. It got me to play a game as a live service type game
As a second life.
as a second life for more than 2 years. And
He's even got like a second mortgage.
Well, not even that.
In
Like
that
I've already.
property.
Bought
it outright.
I bought a game I bought a house in the game. Yeah, so clearly we know
he's been
why
going
we're talking.
Wait, are we
Weddings
talking
and
about
everything.
Animal Crossing here?
No, not Animal Crossing. So I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn.
No! What?
Oh.
Shocking!
You playing
I
Final
wasn't-
Fantasy 14?
Now, I wasn't going to put this on here at first. I thought it can't be. It's not really fair because you've got expansions as well, but you know
No,
what?
it's fair. It's fair. That game did something incredible because when the Final Fantasy 14 came out first time, it was so
Originally.
broken, and they took that and fixed it and made it into something truly remarkable.
Yes.
And the community now is incredible. So no, go ahead. You tell me why you love it so much because
So
I get it. I totally get it.
I love 14 so much because, unlike, say, with, and I will mention about the other Final Fantasies, I never played 15. I can't. I tried. I really did.
Don't
I just couldn't get
bother.
into it.
Don't bother.
And before that, obviously, I'd played 13 and I'd played 13 too. So I was kind of okay. But just the amount of story and the amount of work and passion that you can see in this game is just insane, and it rewards you for playing through the story. It's a strong single-player narrative mixed in with multiplayer, and it's done right. I mean, I've played WoW before, I've played Terra Online, I've played a number of MMOs, but this one has stuck with me because not only does it reward me for playing as a solo player, but it also gives me so much content that I'm still trying to complete to this very day. And I will say this now, and I'm sure people will go, bullshit. I'm saying the word now, bullshit. It's better than 15 in terms of story. I will guarantee that now.
No, that's very easy. Have you finished 15? Have you played
Yes.
15 and finished it?
Yes.
Right, the story was shit.
15 Shadowbringers is one of the best Final Fantasy stories I have played with. The consensus is you've got to have played through the beginning up until then. It is such a really good story, and I have watched reaction videos to see, well, how did everyone else react to this? 'Cause I need to know if everyone else had enjoyed Shadowbringers as much as I did. There were people crying. I'm like, what? That's how. If an MMO storyline can get other people to cry, and I go, I actually really enjoyed this. That's something, because like, I mean, obviously I've got a house. There's a lot of social aspects as well. You can get a house in the game. You can, yes, go to cat weddings apparently.
Three of them.
Three of them, I know. I got invited to so many of these things. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? But I had so much fun with it because it's a wonderful community. There's not so much toxicity. I mean, every game will have some toxicity, multiplayer aspect.
Yeah, it's nice.
But
in the
it's
community that's
so
all
much
like that.
fun. And I'm still playing right now. Like, I'm not playing right now while we're streaming this recording this video because that would be insanely hilarious. What are you doing, Edge? I am not. I'm just playing Shantae. Still like playing through Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But it's one of the best Final Fantasy games I have played in recent years. Now, the reason why I've not put FF7 Remake on my top 3 is I really enjoyed it. However, it's not one that, to me, it's not a complete game. Because it's only one part of the whole picture.
That's the annoying thing.
So I can't put that in my top 3. It's in my honorable mentions because I really enjoyed it, but again, like, it's not one of my top 3. And then, I mean, before we go any further, let me just mention. So, Honorable mentions I could have put on here. Fire Emblem Three Houses. I really want to put that in my top 3.
Definitely.
And
I lost my life to that game.
And I do love Fire Emblem, but when I compare to other Fire Emblem games, I still kind of like Awakening a bit more. On the 3DS, Dante will know what I'm talking about. Because I just really enjoyed the Awakening one a bit more. But I still do love Three Houses, and I do hope they make another sequel. I hope they make another one for the Switch. I would have put in there Resident Evil 2 and 3, or one of the remakes, because I really enjoyed those, and they got me to actually finally play those games. And visually and story-wise, good fun. But I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't go back at this point because I've done it. Tales of series. They did 2 on there. Tales of Berseria, a JRPG. Really enjoyed it. And there's a meme going around where Clive, the main character from Final Fantasy 16, is like a copy paste of the main character Velvet from Tales of Berseria as a joke. Really enjoyed that game, but I can't put it on there. The Trails of Cold Steel, really love those games, but again, I can't put them on my top 3 because they're too recent for me, and it's not. I'm still kind of getting to grips with it, and I think it's not one. It's a series of games, and I would have to pick one. It's like asking you to pick. If you said to me, Mass Effect the trilogy as like a game for your top 3, I'm like, that's a series of games. You can't do that.
Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, I can't do the Tales of Cold series as a whole game because it's 4 parts, and that's not fair.
Same with like the Uncharted series as well. It's like, which Uncharted?
Oh yeah, I thought Uncharted 4, but then I thought, well, hold on, it's a 4th in a series. I
would have put Smash Ultimate on there as well because it's a fun game for the memes. Because I just went, oh dear God, the amount of characters you can play in the game. But, and this is going to sound really silly, I haven't played Smash as much anymore. And that's more maybe because of COVID, but also because of the fact that online play I don't do that much with. I remember as a kid, we would play, I think, Melee and maybe Brawl. And back in the heyday on the Wii, we'd play for hours on the GameCube version and the Wii version. And I just think nowadays, I prefer to play with people around me. Does that make sense? I like playing local co-op.
It's definitely a couch co-op.
It's a couch co-op game, is that?
If we were still able to socialise as much as we could do, I reckon Smash would be on there because I would be like, oh yeah.
You 2020!
I'd be on the proviso that you could play couch co-op. Hell yeah. I would be on there playing completely with you guys and going playing as Joker, Cloud, Sephiroth. Screw Minecraft Steve, what the hell? Really? Playing all that, and I think that would be in my honorable mentions. But I'm sure you guys, I don't want to take up too much time. What was your honorable mentions?
Before we move on then, I'll just put the ultimate, Smash Brothers was in mine as well. Mostly just due to the entire gaming history in that thing. Not only just like Nintendo's, but all the third-party characters and content, the music tracks. It's got
the demos.
What was it? It was like something stupid, like 38 hours worth of music in it to date, at least. And all the little tips. There's just so much content. It's mad. I'm actually surprised I don't play it more. It's probably just because I'm not that good. I'd play it more if I was better. I feel like
it's a multiplayer game.
Online games of it at some point, but it's definitely more fun multiplayer.
God, yeah.
But, there's just so much content crammed into it, and it's on the Switch. It's just like, how are they doing this? I know they did some mad compression technology to get all the music on, because it's unheard of otherwise. But it's just it's a brilliant bit of just gaming history, really.
It makes you wonder how the heck people can argue about like 70 gigs for like FF7 Remake, and then you get all this on a Switch cartridge. Oh well, there you go.
It's crazy, but very clever stuff. And of course, everybody on like across the internet's all like, "Oh, we want this character in," or has an opinion when one gets revealed, or this and that. And it's insane on how it's become this thing. And Sakurai was originally there going, I just want to make a fun party game. And now it's like, what the heck?
I think of it so. It's kind of fun though. I think he's enjoying it.
Yeah. It is.
I didn't put too many honourable mentions in because, I was very much just wanting to pick 3. You've mentioned a lot that I would have mentioned. The only other ones I probably would say that I think would potentially deserve a place on here would be a couple. Probably Horizon Zero Dawn. That game was just gorgeous, really beautiful, brand new IP. So excited for playing the second one on the PlayStation 5. Really nice story, world. The machines are so cool. The combat was really, really fun. And just visually stunning. I mean, it was that stunning that Kojima literally yanked that engine and used it in Death Stranding. Yeah, because it's a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous game. Loved it. Absolutely loved Horizon Zero Dawn. And then I probably would say Mario Odyssey. Because for me, that was the first Mario game I actually completed all the way through. And for me, one of the biggest issues I've always had with the Mario franchise is I always felt every iteration, generally speaking, played it too safe.
Yeah.
Didn't really offer anything massively new, bar like maybe a new suit or something like that. But Mario Odyssey took, what's great for the, previous like sandbox games like Sunshine and Galaxy and stuff, but then introduced a brand new game mechanic in the capture mechanic that just completely changed it up, and introduced some amazing level designs, amazing freedom in terms of like puzzle solving and different things. Great soundtrack. Just fab. Just a fab game. And I had a smile on my face from beginning to end and really, really enjoyed my time with it. So that probably would be another one that I would like put on here. And I think Nintendo's done pretty well this generation. They've had some really great games, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go and what else they've got coming. Really long overdue for a new Metroid game, I'm just saying. And I hope it does live up to the hype and live up to the expectations. But yeah, so yeah, Mario Odyssey for me definitely would be on here as well, because again, it took the franchise in a new and interesting direction, and really tried something really new and out there, and it really worked. So that was, and it had that sense of like nostalgia, but also new in some of the things that they implemented. It was very good anyway. But yeah, so probably those two would be on my honorable mentions. But you mentioned a lot of the ones I would have talked about, Monster Hunter World, all sorts of things. So yeah, all the games we've mentioned are all incredible, in their own right, and I would class them as must-play titles. Yeah, as in like, get the game. You're not going to be disappointed, And a lot of these games have been out a while, so you'll be able to get them at quite good prices now.
Cool.
So all good titles. So yeah, all really good. So there you have it. Those are some of the best games of this last generation. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a nice lengthy conversation, much longer than we were originally expecting, but you know what, we really, really enjoyed it, and we hope you enjoyed it too. Let us know what your picks would be for the best games of the last generation in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, of course, please like, subscribe and follow the channel, and I will be back at some point this week with the 2 remaining videos, which will be reviewing, also reflecting back on 2020 and what were some of the best games and some of the most disappointing games of this year. So look forward to those. Anyway, hope you guys having a great week. Take care, and as always, happy gaming. Bye guys.